everybody, it's this guy here for the Bitchin' Report. I did a video a few days ago about the Santa Rosa fire and just some things that I saw that were kind of odd. And looking through more photos, I found more things that were odd. Since then, I've been putting this together. It's taken me a few days, and I've noticed there's a few other videos out there that are just really kind of over the top and creating more of a fear porn type of a video rather than just laying out some facts. Just going to point things out that you should be able to scratch your head and say, yes, that's very odd. By the time you're done watching this video, you should come to the conclusion that this was a man-made event. I'm not sure if you're aware, but within a few days, there were something like 50 fires in California. Started all at one time. Very, very odd. We live in an age of technological advancements that we are not aware of. So with that said, let's get the show on the road. So, house fire, typical house fire burns at about 1100 degrees. If, around the roof and that kind of stuff, you're looking at 1200 degrees. So this is not some kind of 5,000 degree inferno, right? This is just a neighborhood that caught on fire. That's all. Cars are made out of steel, and their burning point is 2,500 degrees. Aluminum burns at 1,218 degrees. Still, just regular old house fire, 1,100. Then we have iron, another major component in building cars, things like engine parts and stuff like that. Well, iron burns at 2,200 degrees. And then there's titanium. Titanium's used in newer cars. It's kind of an expensive deal. And titanium's not on this list. I couldn't find an actual list that contained all of these that was short enough to show you. But we have titanium melting at 3,135 degrees. About 400 over steel and about 2,000 over aluminum. So we have temperatures of 3,218 degrees when a house fire only burns at 11. That is very good basic information to keep in mind while you're watching this video. So let's take a flyover and check this out. Just use your eyes and look. Tell me where the fire was. What I see are a bunch of houses that collapsed. Few cars caught on fire. But other than that, we still have green trees.
You can't drive this piece of shit on my highway.
You can see that this is a pile of ashes. There is not a wall, a roof, anything that actually looks like it could have caught on fire. But this right here sticks out like a sore thumb. How did this park stay pristine when everything around it is just dust? Literally dust. We're going to take some further looks at what these neighborhoods actually look like at the ground level. And you're going to see that there is something very strange here. So here's some drone footage. And what I see from somebody who camps a lot, what I see is dust. These houses have just been turned to dust. Do you see anything odd in that picture right there? Let's take another look at it. Why is that flag still perfectly white? Hilton's perfectly white, and the flag's even blowing in the breeze, but the flag behind it is tattered, burnt. You could see in the driveways those black spots, but nothing actually there. That is just crazy destruction. This looks more like a bomb went off than a fire. Just massive, massive amounts of destruction that are unexplainable. So let's take some ground level views. This right here, doesn't that green lawn stand out when there's no structure there? You could see that trash can still on fire, but here, look at this. Those flowers are still pristine. They're not even tarnished with smoke. This orange cone sitting next to burnt rubble. How about the trash can that's unscarred at all? So here's something that I see throughout all of these videos. Let's stop. Is the street signs are all perfect, and the fire hydrants are all still white, along with the lines in the street. So we're riding along right now with a dad and his son. His son lives in this neighborhood right here. And the dad is taking the son to look at the house, see if there's damage or anything. And what they're finding is, a bomb went off here. So look at this right here. The trailer is in the street as if it rolled backwards. How would that, what could have made that trailer roll backwards? Just saying. Sticks out a little odd. It wasn't connected to a vehicle. And then you have all this debris up next to the van, saying that there was a gust of air so strong it looks like it blew the door of the van almost off the hinges, completely bent forward. That takes a lot of force to bend a door backwards. When I see stuff like this, I get concerned that there might have been somebody trying to get in their vehicle to leave, and they didn't make it. So look, the yellow poles right there. How? So somewhere we have paint that doesn't burn. Look at all the debris. This suggests a very strong wind, like an explosion, except at the park. Those plastic slides, the netted roofs, you could see one just kind of ripped apart, but all that debris and everything all around it, and that still stands. More yellow poles. Over here on the left, there's a basketball hoop. The hoop's melted, but the base is not. And here we have what looks like a Roman tub, a jacuzzi bathtub. It's out in the middle of the street. The only explanation would be some kind of a gust of wind or an actual explosion. Like the house exploded like a bomb. But you don't see any of these houses spread all over the streets. There's not bricks and stuff all over the street. All of these houses collapsed in on themselves. That right there should be a big red flag. And here he is pulling up to his house. I've cut the audio out of it because this guy's really shaken up about it, as we all would be. But what's in the street? What burned right here? There is nothing. There is nothing there. That little piece of wood, that didn't make that huge mark on the street. What burned the street like that? That you could see that this is just a circular area that's been caught on fire. But there's nothing there that looks like it would catch on fire. Right? There's a boat trailer. Some more debris. Again, this looks like a bomb went off. But everything imploded on itself. Or vaporized. Or was turned to dust. You can see more metal. We talked about the burning temperature of stuff. All that stuff should have survived. You know, it's all fire burned and all of that. There is just nothing left. Everything looks like it has just collapsed on itself. So one possibility, a lot of houses in California have natural gas stoves, gas water heaters, gas heating systems. So it is plausible that what we have here is a firestorm that was started because of a gas explosion. Just a guess. But it surely wouldn't fit. Do you see that? That is a plastic mailbox. That looks like they put it up just 10 minutes ago. There's nothing melted there. You can see across the street the trash cans. And here's what a trash can should look like when it's been around extreme heat. Not flame. If it was flame, it would be melted into like a puddle. But you could see there's nothing black around it. This I find very bothersome. I saw this and, yeah, I didn't know really what else to think. But you can see there's a pile of ashes right there. And the side of that door looks like it's been flashed, burned. Just a burst of fire blew that way and the door got charred. You could see the lawn in the background is still smoldering. Some parts of the lawn to the very right still smoldering. The thought occurred to me, what if that is a pile of ashes? Somebody tried to get into the car to leave and spontaneously combusted? I know that sounds far-fetched, but there is nothing black around that pile of ashes. It just looks like somebody dumped out a bucket of ashes right next to it. All of these signs, all of these street signs are perfect, pristine. Fire hydrants, perfect, pristine. This is what a sign looks like when it's been in a fire. See that? That's what fire does to street signs. But we don't see that here. You know, this house was turned to dust. Literally dust. There's not even a piece of there's nothing recognizable that this is a house. Yet the fire hydrant and the sign out front still stand. Here we have more trash cans and a front lawn that isn't burnt. Anything wrong with this picture? Real quick. The fence, it looks like it just got painted. The shrubs in the front are all toasted, but the fire hydrant and the mailboxes still standing. So as you watch this, when you see cars, look for debris, look for a reason, look for something that says that car was parked there, like the white SUV type vehicle with the trash cans behind it. And notice that the street signs are still green. Fire hydrant still looks good, except the house is demolished. Vaporized, turned to dust. You know this truck was parked here. Because logic tells you, if you were coming to see what's going on, you would not park it that close to that trailer. Just doesn't make sense, sticks out. You see these cars are just toasted. Everything burnt here, but the fire hydrant. Look in the street. What is that pile of ashes right there? There is nothing that shows it was burnt, that there was anything burning there. If it was something minimal. And in the background, you could see those cars toasted right here. But that white ball still sitting in the smoldering yard. Here, things look really inconsistent. We have a melted trash can next to a good trash can next to a vehicle that is completely crusted. This truck, this truck was parked here because the trailer, the tires have been melted off, except it's connected to the truck in front of it. Truck looks like it's brand new. Unhook the trailer and drive away. See? That's odd.
Soon as I get home, the first thing I'm gonna do is punch your mama in the mouth.
But when you're driving around, the street signs still red. And when you see these cars in the garage, this one's rolled out into the street. Just the thought that somebody was trying to get away and didn't make it. I wonder what's in that car. Well, these cars, look at that. That was burning so hot, the pavement is actually a different color. That's just crazy. What happened right here in this specific spot to do this? You could see the tailgate is missing from this vehicle right here. That is not going on anywhere else. Something happened right there at this house. Check that out. See that? The mailbox at the street, the pole has been burnt to the point where the mailbox fell off of it, but the numbers on the street are perfectly crystal clear. 1712 or 1221. You have the house demolished, but you've got a white fence still standing that shows no sign of a fire anywhere near it. Street sign, still red. Car right here, charred. You probably wouldn't even be able to tell what brand or make or model that car is. So this I find very interesting. The fire, everything's burnt around it, but if you notice on that telephone pole, it looks like a piece of paper. Like maybe, some little kid's dog ran away and they're out putting flyers up trying to find it. Piece of paper, not burnt, but the yard, the house, rubble. It was apparently a trash day because everybody's trash cans are out in the street, or they were burned to a crisp. But you can see out in front of almost all these houses, there's these burned sections. This I find very interesting because the ground and the grass is burnt, but the plants and the shrubs are green. Terracotta, those terracotta pots should have been cracked and crumbled from the heat. And you could see the rocks on the left side, only part of them are blackened. You hear a lot of people saying, well, the wind direction and all of that. But that white fence, that shouldn't have been standing. That shouldn't still be white. Look at these vehicles. So when I say, look at these vehicles that aren't burnt and see if they were actually parked here. This right here is obvious. This vehicle was parked here during the event. You could see the object, the dirt, the stuff is blown around it, right up to it like that. Everything behind it is vaporized, turned to dust. The car there in the upper right-hand corner, still burnt to a crisp, but this car made it through. Mailbox in the street right there. Level. This looks something more like Hiroshima. Sign still red. This is not a natural man-made event. I've pointed out enough for everybody to be scratching their head. Why is that stop sign still red? Here we have another basketball hoop. The top of it's probably all melted, but the base is still intact. It looks like this was more blown over than actually melted. This right here is crazy. This was so hot it melted the sheet metal on the trailer. So we know that a regular house fire isn't going to melt that. So there must have been some chemicals. This must be a painter's trailer or something like that where there was chemicals inside that burned hotter than normal. If that wasn't the case, if that was just a trailer, an empty trailer, there would be vehicles with sheet metal melted off. But the neighborhood watch sign and the, I don't know, probably slow or the neighborhood watch sign and the other street sign not burn at all. So the trailer is burnt, but the tires are still intact. You could probably just hitch that up and drive it away. You wouldn't look good, but it's still functioning. Here we have a basketball hoop base, plastic base, still intact again, just blown over. So you know the fire is going to create its own wind just from the amount of heat it's generating. But everything is crumbled to the point where you could see individual houses in their place. Nothing has fallen. You know, all of these structures have burned in a very consistent way that makes it look very suspicious. This looks like a wood structure right here. Not really sure what could have been in it, but you could see the timber is still standing. I'm going to call this a wood structure because I'm not sure if that's metal or whatnot. You can see there's the trailer we just passed over there. The van, that's incredible. Tree trunks still there. Top of the trees, charred, missing. See what I'm saying? Everything is just collapsed on itself. Nothing is leaning. There's no unburnt houses. There's no unburnt pieces of houses anywhere. So what I find, another thing that I find very interesting is that a lot of these mailboxes, they're on a wood post out in the front. And the post right there, that post was burnt the most up at the top where the box sits. Not at the base like somebody started it on fire. There are too many inconsistencies like that. See how green those shrubs are? There's two cars parked here, untouched, while the yard was green. There's a couple mailboxes on the ground. So this one bothers me again. What is the pile of ashes on the ground that has no burn marks around it? Road flare isn't that big. See anything wrong with that white car right there? We're going to point out something incredible here in a few minutes. See that right there? Going to point that out. So here's another vehicle you could see was parked here. Well, what was all over that trash can? Now, if that trash can was on fire or something, it would be melted, but it's not melted. The side of that SUV didn't have burn marks. One more look at it, you could see nothing burnt on that SUV right there. But yet that trash can had residue all over it. Well, that trash can had residue all over the top of it. Something happened to that trash can. When I see two cars in the driveway like that, that really bothers me. This stands out like a sore thumb. Look at the yard is toasted, but those shrubs at the front are still green. Tree, still green. That car, you don't really know. So here we have trash cans not burnt. Trash can in the street, completely burnt. And then, right here, you have a picnic table. Why didn't the picnic table catch on fire? Another fire hydrant. Street. So, I'm not trying to make you fearful of anything. I just want to point out that there are some very irregular things happening in this fire. So here we have a house completely demolished, and the shrubs in the front yard are still pristine. How could that have happened like that? car parked out front, and you see a lot of these cars, they look new, and there's not enough people walking around looking at stuff to say that those cars, there's not enough people walking around to say that those cars had just been driven there and people are out looking around. I don't see that many people. But look, not a roof, not a nothing. See that right there? See this right here? There's something very unique, very odd about what we just watched. Look at this. Do you see anything out of place right here? It's okay if you don't. It took me a little while watching this, watching all these videos to catch it. Here we have more examples of the grass completely burnt, but the shrubs still green, the electrical boxes still pale green, whatever color they paint them. But the house is demolished, except for the shrubs and the house on the other side right there. Those people got lucky. So what I want to point out to you is the aluminum that's melted. You could see the rear rim, the rear wheel of this vehicle is melted. That is a puddle of aluminum. Now, a forest fire burns at around 1400 degrees. But we know this isn't a forest fire. This is a forest fire. That looks like the engine block melted. That is a lot of aluminum flowing. It would have to be very hot for the aluminum to flow that far away from the vehicle again. Same fire. These are from forest fires. Here's a junkyard fire. Poor slug bug. That looks like the engine block melted. Then we come to this picture right here. This to me looks like a roadside fire. But look at all the molten metal. Look at all the molten aluminum. There is definitely something wrong with this picture. This car should not have burned this hot on its own. Something had to have happened to have increased the heat that much. And vineyard behind it, not burnt at all. You could see the side of the road there. Looks like it's been caught on fire. Did this car spontaneously combust? I find this very, very odd and out of place. Let me show you what a car fires look like. So you can see there's rims. Those rims aren't melted. Car fire, rims not melted. Here's another picture. This was in a parking structure. This should have been accumulating a lot of heat. Here's what old cars look like. You could see wheels. That one even has the tires intact. Here's a bunch of pickup trucks. Wheels intact, front bumpers intact. Here's another one. Wheels fine. Remember, a house fire is only 1100 degrees, 1200 at best. And we now know steel gonna burn at about 2500, aluminum 1200, cast iron 2200. The fire's not nearly hot enough to do this kind of stuff. That's all melting. That's all molten aluminum. And again, the fire would have to be pretty hot for it to run down the driveway like that. Here's a rim. Here's another one. These are all over in this disaster. Something not right with this picture. Too many situations where you see things out of place, like the road sign down at the very end. Why is that still yellow, but the yard, or what used to be the house, is still smoldering? This one has the whole tires and rims completely vanished. There wasn't even a pool of molten aluminum. There's another one. Pool of molten aluminum, but that white ball, not sure what that is, but it looks like it's in pretty good shape. It fared fairly well. You can see on the left side of the picture, it looks like a plastic trash can melted to death. And this right here, again, tailgate melted off, rims melted in puddles. That's pretty hot. Why aren't the trunks missing? Here's another one with the back end missing and aluminum pouring out the driveway. That one has a lot. You can see that is a puddle of molten aluminum. That's not water coming out of these vehicles. I saw this and I noticed a spot next to the vehicle. Looks like something was there that didn't burn. I'm not really sure. You could see a puddle of aluminum running down the driveway there, but there's a spot where nothing's burnt. And in the yard right here, you could see something was on fire, but there's nothing there. Then I came across this picture. What do you suppose happened in this picture? I'm not even sure what to say. This is so out of place. Trees. Nothing is burnt. It looks like the buildings collapsed in on themselves. You can't even really see much fire damage, as if the roof was pushed down to the foundation by some kind of force. So at this point in time, we can no longer be naive to the possible weapons that have been developed that could do these types of things. That is an extremely hot fire. What happened right here that didn't happen in the rest of these neighborhoods? Very spotty. I'm just going to show you a couple of images right here. Here's what a plane with a laser mounted on the front looks like. We have this. This technology exists. This is not a conspiracy theory. I'm actually showing you a plane with laser on it. I'm actually showing you a plane with a laser on the nose. Not only can this heat a missile to the point of explosion, but it could easily heat the ground and start a fire. This goes off into so many other topics. I don't even want to go any further. This video's gotten rather long, and I'm gonna cut it off here. So just be aware that some of these other videos are creating things closer to fear porn than just showing you what's going on. That's what the purpose of this video of me making this video was just to show you what's really going on. Don't be afraid, just know that it's going on. For the Bitchin' Report, I'm this guy here, bringing you the information you need to be an informed human being.